Okay, imagine this. You have cleared 3 rounds of interview in one of the top MNC in India, but in the final technical round, interviewer asks you one simple question. How would you recognize revenue under US GAAP? And you just blank out. Not because you're bad at accounting or something, but just because nobody told you that you should know about this topic as well. Thousands of candidates in India face this challenge during their interview, and that's exactly why in today's video I'm going to cover basics of US GAAP, which you must know before going for your next MNC interview. My name is Ankit, and in today's video, I'm going to break down US GAAP in the simplest way possible for you so you can understand it with the help of relevant example. What is it? Why it is important? Why it exists? What are the core principles, how it is different from what we follow in India, and most importantly, why knowing this can change the trajectory of your career. No jargons, no textbook definitions, only simple basic examples to help you understand the basics of US GAAP. So without any further ado, let's get started. So first thing first, what is US GAAP? GAAP stands for Generally Accepted Accounting Principle. Now I know that sounds bureaucratic and kind of it is, but what it represents is actually very important. Okay, so I want you to imagine like we have two companies, one is run by me and one is run by you. At the end of the year, I say my company made 10 crore rupees in profit, and you say your company made 8 crores. Now, an investor is looking at both of us and trying to decide where to put his money. But here is the problem. What if you and I are not calculating the profit in same way? Maybe our methods could be completely different from each other. What if I'm including the money that customer haven't even paid me yet and you are not? What if I'm depreciating my assets over the 5 years, but you are doing it over the 10 years? There are so many scenarios which could go differently, and due to which our profit might not show the correct picture to the investor or other stakeholders. And due to this, suddenly the comparison is not possible because we are not playing by same rules. And this is the exact problem which US GAAP solves. So it is a standardized set of rules, a common accounting language that every company listed in US stock exchange has to follow. So remember this term, valid for all the companies who are listed in US stock exchange. We are not talking about US companies. Any company, no matter from where it is, if it is listed in US stock exchange, they need to follow US GAAP. So when you look at Apple's financial statements or Amazon financial statement or even Google, you know they have used US GAAP for preparing their financial statements. And that makes their financial statements comparable because you can trust each and everything they are presenting are calculated by using same rules. So this was about what is US GAAP. Now, who creates US GAAP rules? So there are two party involved. So the first is Financial Accounting Standard Board, FASB. They are the ones who actually write and update the accounting standards. Think of them like the author of the rule book. The second party involved is SEC, which stands for Security Exchange Commission, and they are the regulators. They are the ones who say if you want to list your company on a US stock exchange, you follow FASB's rule and there is no exception. Anyone who wants to get listed on US stock exchange, they need to follow US GAAP for preparation of their financial statement. So FASB writes the rules and SEC enforce them. And just to be clear, US GAAP is not just for American companies, it is for each and every company who wants to list themselves on the US stock exchange. Whether it's headquartered in New York, London, or even in India, they have to prepare their financial statements using US GAAP. Okay, great. Now let's talk about the actual principles, the ideas that sit at the heart of US GAAP. So I'm going to cover 5 of them, not all of them today, but I promise by end of this video, you will actually understand the basics of these 5 US GAAP principles and not just memorize the definitions. Okay, so the first one is accrual basis. Now, this is probably the most important concept in all of the accounting. Accrual basis means you record the revenue when it is earned and you record the expenses when they are incurred. Involvement of cash is not necessary. So, even if cash has not moved hands, you can still record the transaction on the accrual basis. So let me give you one very simple example to make you understand this. Say your company finishes a project for the client in the month of March and you have completed all the works which you need to do. But the client pays you in the month of April. So in that case, under accrual accounting method, which is GAAP follows, you record that revenue in the month of March and not in the month of April when you will actually receive the payment. Because March was the month when you earned it. The fact that cash came to you in the month of April does not matter here. And this matters because it gives much more accurate picture of company's actual financial performance. For example, cash timing can be manipulated or delayed, but the economic reality, the fact that the value was delivered, that's what actually captures the transaction. Okay, great. Moving ahead, now let's talk about our second principle, which is going concern. This is the simplest but one of the most important principle for investors and auditors. Going concern means we prepare financial statement with the assumption that business will continue to operate in the foreseeable future. We are not assuming that business is going to discontinue in the near future. And why does this matter? Because if a company is about to shut down in coming few days or month, the way you value its assets completely changes compared to a company who's going to continue its operation in the coming few days or month. For example, let's say we have a machine of worth rupees 50 lakh rupees. If business is continuing, you might sell it for 50 lakh rupees. But at the time of liquidation, there is no guarantee that you will get the actual worth of your machine. So might be it gets sold for only 10 lakh rupees. So that is very important for auditors and investor to know that there is no issue with the going concern of the company in the near future. So if auditors believe that there are chances that company might not run in the future and there are factors which are affecting the going concern of the company, they need to flag it. Moving on to the third one, which is consistency. Now this one is the exactly what it sounds like. Once you choose an accounting method, you stick with it year after year. You can't switch your depreciation method from straight line to reducing balance just because it makes your profit looks better this year. Consistency ensures that when you compare this year's number with the last year's number, you are comparing apples to apples and not apples with mango. Moving ahead, now let's talk about our number four principle, which is materiality. Now, this is where cap gets little bit practical. Materiality basically means don't waste time reporting information that is too small to actually matter. For example, if Apple spends $200 on their stationery items, they don't need to track it as a separate item in their financial statement while preparing their global financial statements because it is very immaterial in context of Apple and it has certainly do not have any impact on the investor decision. Materiality is GAP's way of saying be precise where precision matters and be practical where it does not. Now, moving on to the fifth one, which is conservatism. This is my personal favorite, and I think this makes the most sense. Conservatism says when you are uncertain about something, when something could go two ways, always lean towards more cautious and pessimistic way. So, recognizing potential loss early and don't recognize any potential gain until they are certain. If I give you one example for this, so say your company has filed an legal case against another company and you might win a 5 crore rupees in damages. So under conservatism, you do not record this 5 crore rupees income yet until you have received it or until it is certain. But let's say if some other company is suing you and there are reasonable chances that you have to pay 5 crore rupees in the damages and even if the case is not decided yet, you will book a liability immediately to record this. So in short, you will record all the losses early but gains only recorded once they are certain. Okay, great. Now let's move ahead and talk about US GAAP versus IFRS. India does not follow US GAAP. In India, we follow something called IND AS, which is highly inspired from IFRS. And IFRS is used over 140 countries. And can you guess how many countries follow US GAAP? There is only one. United States of America, which follows the US GAAP, and all the companies who are registered in US Stock Exchange, they need to follow the US GAAP as well. So I have one question for you. If you are in India, why do you need to learn about US GAAP? So answer is very simple. In India, there are so many top MNC companies who is working for their US client like TCS, Infosys, Wipro, Accenture, Genpact, EXL, EY, Deloitte, and list goes on. So these companies have their global capability centers in India where they are working for their US clients situated from India. So that's why it is very important for you if you want to get a good paying job in India and you are targeting top MNCs, you need to have good knowledge of US GAAP because all these companies have most of their clients from USA. And because they need to prepare their financial statement based on the US GAAP. So having knowledge of US GAAP adds you in the category of candidates which have specialized technical skill. Okay, so we were talking about what is the difference between US GAAP and IFRS. So let me give you a few of the quick differences to differentiate between the US GAAP and the IFRS. So the first one is LIFO inventory method. So under US GAAP, companies can use LIFO, which stands for last in, first out, to value their inventory. But under IFRS, that is not allowed. This alone can cause significant difference in reporting of profit between two companies. The second one would be development costs. So under US GAAP, research and development costs are almost always expensed immediately and hit the income statement right away. But under IFRS, research and development costs, once a project meets certain criteria, can be capitalized as asset. That means instead of going directly as an expense in the income statement, they become an asset and then slowly depreciate through income statement. Now the third one is overall approach. So gap is more like rule based approach. It gives you very specific detailed guidance for almost every scenario. But on the other hand, IFRS is more of like a principle based. So it gives you framework and expect you to use your judgment. And if someone asks you IFRS is better or US GAAP is better, you cannot say which one is better because both of them are good and these are dependent upon how you are looking at things. So the key takeaway here is if you are working for a US based client, you must know about US GAAP. And if you are working for UK or any other region, where they are following IFRS, you should know about IFRS. And if you know about both of them, that is excellent for your career. Okay, so let me make this very concrete for you guys. Go to LinkedIn right now. I mean, not just right now, after watching this video, and search US Gap in the job section. And you will see thousands of jobs are available in India in which they are looking for a skill called US Gap. So it is very important for you if you learn just the basics of US Gap. I'm not asking you to do any kind of certification or something. Just learn about these basics. We study these principles in India as well. So these are almost same. You just need to go through them once so you can understand that okay, these are the specific requirements under US GAAP, and that is what we have studied in India from our class 11th onwards. So there are not much differences, but if you're not aware about something, you might think that US GAAP is something rocket science, which it is not. If you just want to get the basic learning, you can get it without even paying for it. And later on in this video, I will also tell you how you can study if you want to. But before that, let me tell you the key financial statements which we prepare under US GAAP. So the first one is income statement. So this shows revenue, expenses, and net income for a period. In GAAP, you will often see it broken into operating income, non-operating income, and then net income. The terminology is bit different from what you might have studied in your schools or colleges. Net income is basically the net profit which we calculate in India. The second one is balance sheet, which we also prepare in India and all over the world. In balance sheet, you will see assets, liability, and stakeholders' equity. Notice the term, not shareholders fund or share capital, stakeholders' equity. So the terminology might be different, but that means the same thing which we have studied in India. And the other matters is like gap lists assets in order of liquidity. So most liquid assets will show on the top and the least liquid asset will be shown at the bottom. So cash come before fixed assets, unlike Indian format where fixed assets are listed first. Then the third one, we have statement of cash flow, which we also prepare in India. And here also you will see things like operating, investing, and financing activities. And this one looks quite similar across GAAP and IFRS. And the fourth statement which we prepare in US GAAP is statement of stakeholders equity. So this is the statement you might not have encountered in your school days, but it is kind of the share capital account which we have prepared in your 11th class, but with a different terminology and of course with some complexity which we have not studied in our school or colleges. So it shows the equity section has changed over the period due to any reasons like net profit increase or decrease and your dividend paid or share issue and so on. There can be a number of reasons. So it is a required statement under US GAAP which companies also need to prepare. So if you want to see them in real life, you can go and download Apple, Microsoft, or even Google or any company, Accenture, Genpact. Just go on Google and search for their financial statement. They are publicly available for free. You can go and check them out and get the better understanding if you want to look at them and compare and maybe even analyze at your end. So this was the basic of US GAAP which I covered in this video. If you want to learn about this in more detail, you can directly go to FASB's website, which is mentioned on the screen right now. You can go and check them out and read about all the US GAAP, whatever you want to learn. They are available for free. But if you want me to make detailed videos on this channel related to US GAAP or even IFRS, just comment US GAAP detailed video or IFRS. So I would know that you want me to cover these topics in detail in the future videos. And if you got any value from this video, please do like it. It will motivate me to make more such videos for you in future. And if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, do subscribe it because I'm going to make so many more interview related videos and your career development videos in this channel. So thank you for watching. I'll see you soon. Till then, take care and prepare well.